The sun rose slowly over Lumeria, casting a warm glow across the valley. Lyra awoke feeling stronger than ever. The adventures of the past days had changed her, not just in body but in mind and spirit. Today, Jason told her, would be their most challenging journey yet. They were going to explore the Crystal Caverns, a place hidden deep in the mountains where the planet's energy pulsed at its strongest. Many villagers feared it, but Jason and Lyra were determined. Jason packed their supplies carefully. "The caverns are beautiful but unpredictable," he said. "We must work together. Your strength and connection to Lumeria's energy will be important, but so will your caution and intelligence." Lyra nodded. "I'm ready," she said. Her large eyes sparkled with excitement and determination. They set off across the valley, moving quickly over the plains and climbing toward the mountains. Lyra's energy flowed naturally now, guiding her movements with grace and precision. She felt a deep connection to the land, sensing the subtle currents of energy beneath her feet and around the crystalline trees. As they approached the mountains, the terrain became steeper and rockier. Jagged cliffs and narrow ledges tested Lyra's balance and strength. She moved carefully but confidently, her new abilities allowing her to navigate obstacles that would have been impossible before. Jason followed closely, impressed by her skill and courage. Finally, they reached the entrance of the Crystal Caverns. The mouth of the cave was framed by enormous crystals that glowed faintly in the morning light. Jason checked the readings on his instruments. "Energy levels here are higher than anywhere else we've been," he said. "Stay focused, Lyra. The environment will respond to your energy, so we need to move carefully." Lyra stepped forward, feeling the familiar pulse of energy flowing through her. She had practiced this before, but the caverns were different, stronger, more intense. As she entered, she felt the walls hum with power. Light refracted through the crystals, creating patterns that danced across the cavern floor. It was breathtaking, but Jason reminded her, beautiful doesn't mean safe. The deeper they went, the more the energy shifted. Crystals pulsed in response to their presence, and faint whispers of sound echoed through the caverns, as if the place itself was alive. Lyra focused her mind, letting her energy blend with the natural currents. She felt connected in a way she had never experienced before. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the cavern. One of the larger crystal formations had shifted, blocking their path. Lyra quickly assessed the situation. Using her energy, she stabilized the crystal just enough for them to move past it safely. Jason watched with amazement. Her abilities had grown beyond anything he had anticipated. Further into the caverns, they encountered a deep chasm. Across it was a platform of glowing crystals, suspended over a pool of shimmering water. Jason frowned. "We'll have to jump carefully. Use your energy to guide your movements." Lyra focused, feeling the currents of energy around her. She leapt with grace and precision, landing safely on the crystal platform. Jason followed, impressed by her control and confidence. "Excellent," he said. "You're ready for anything." As they continued, they discovered a large chamber filled with enormous crystals, each radiating powerful energy. Lyra approached them cautiously, sensing the unique vibrations of each. She extended her hands, and the crystals pulsed in response, creating a symphony of light and sound. Jason observed quietly. "Lyra, your connection to Lumeria is extraordinary. You can feel and influence the energy here in ways no one else could." "This is remarkable." Lyra smiled, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. She had faced every challenge and grown stronger, learning to balance courage, intelligence, and control. But the cavern held one final challenge. A shadow moved across the walls, a creature larger and more powerful than any they had encountered before. Its scales shimmered with the same energy as the crystals, and its eyes glowed with intensity. Jason stepped forward, ready to protect Lyra. "Be careful," he warned. But Lyra stepped forward herself. "I can handle this," she said. Her hands glowed softly as she extended her energy toward the creature. She felt its mind, its curiosity, and its caution. Slowly, she reached a connection, communicating not with words but with her energy and intent. The creature paused, sensing her sincerity and strength. Lyra's calm confidence and connection to the caverns reassured it. After a tense moment, the creature lowered its head and stepped aside, allowing them to pass. Lyra exhaled, relief and triumph mixing in her expression. Jason looked at her with pride. "You did it, Lyra. That was incredible." You faced fear, danger, and uncertainty, and you succeeded. The rest of the cavern was filled with glowing crystals, water reflections, and calm energy. Lyra moved through it with grace, exploring every corner. She discovered hidden streams, sparkling mineral formations, and small creatures that had adapted to the cavern's energy. She felt a deep sense of wonder and joy. This place was alive, and she was a part of it. As they reached the end of the cavern, Lyra paused to look back at the path they had taken. She felt a sense of pride and gratitude. She had grown stronger, braver, and wiser. She had learned to connect with the world around her and to face challenges with courage and intelligence, and she had done it with Jason by her side, guiding and supporting her. When they emerged from the caverns into the bright light of Lumeria's twin suns, the villagers were waiting. They had sensed the energy shifts from the cavern and gathered to welcome Lyra back. Children ran to greet her and elders nodded in respect. Lyra's journey had inspired them all. Jason smiled as he watched Lyra interact with her people. She had grown not only in strength but in confidence and leadership. She had become a symbol of hope and courage, showing everyone that humans and aliens could work together to achieve greatness. Lyra turned to Jason. "Thank you," she said softly. "For everything. You helped me grow, not just in strength but in confidence and understanding." Jason shook his head gently. "You did the work, Lyra. I only guided you. The courage, intelligence, and determination were always yours." As the sun set, casting long shadows across the crystalline village, Lyra stood with Jason, looking out at the world she had grown to love and understand. She felt a deep sense of connection, not just to her people and the land, but to the universe itself. She had faced challenges, discovered new abilities, and learned that true strength comes from courage, understanding, and connection. That night, Lyra lay beneath the twin moons, reflecting on her journey. She had come far from the small, uncertain girl she had once been. Now she was strong, confident, and ready to face the future. She knew that Lumeria held many more mysteries, but she also knew she was capable of facing them. Jason watched over her quietly, a sense of pride and hope filling him. Humanity had the power to inspire growth and courage, not through force or domination, but through guidance, understanding, and friendship. Lyra was proof of that, a living symbol of what could happen when humans reached out to help and connect. As Lyra drifted to sleep, dreaming of the adventures yet to come, Jason whispered softly to himself, "This is only the beginning. The stars hold endless possibilities, and together we will explore them." And so, the story of the human who helped an alien girl grow came to a triumphant close, not with an ending, but with the promise of new adventures, new discoveries, and the unbreakable bond between two beings from different worlds, united in courage, intelligence, and the spirit of exploration. The next morning, Alex arrived at the armory earlier than usual. He had barely slept, his mind filled with thoughts of yesterday's encounter. Commander Lyra's words echoed in his head. "You don't see me like the others do." They had stayed with him, strange yet meaningful, hinting at a trust he had never expected from an alien warrior. He entered the armory and began preparing his tools. The rows of armor gleamed under the station lights, but his focus remained on Lyra's suit. As he approached, he noticed small details he hadn't seen before. Faint scratches along the arm plating, subtle dents that suggested impacts from unusual angles, and a series of markings near the helmet that appeared ceremonial. He paused for a moment, tracing them lightly with his fingers. Each mark told a story, he realized, not just of battles fought, but of decisions made, victories earned, and risks taken. Lyra entered silently, her presence filling the room, even before her footsteps echoed. She wore her usual stoic expression, but her eyes flickered toward him with something almost like curiosity. "You're early," she said, her voice calm but authoritative. "Yes, Commander," Alex replied. "I wanted to make sure we have plenty of time." She gave a slight nod and moved toward a workstation in the corner, allowing him to start. Alex set to work immediately, carefully removing each piece of armor, inspecting it, and performing minor repairs. As he worked, he noticed more of the details that others often overlooked. Tiny grooves in the metal that improved flexibility, the delicate but precise fit of each joint, and the way the armor's weight was distributed to enhance her movement. "You study this armor carefully," Lyra said, observing him. "I try to," Alex replied. "It tells me a lot about the person who wears it. Lyra's eyes narrowed slightly, and then she leaned back, folding her arms. Most humans don't see that. They either fear the armor or treat it as a tool. You see something more. Alex paused, considering her words. Because every detail matters. One small flaw can change everything in a fight. But the details also tell the story of who you are, how you fight, and what you've survived. Lyra regarded him silently for a moment. Then, almost imperceptibly, her stance relaxed. Alex continued working, encouraged by the small sign of trust. As the morning passed, Alex cleaned and adjusted each section of the armor. He found minor misalignments in the joint plates and smoothed them, ensuring Lyra would have maximum mobility. He polished the metal until it gleamed, removing even the smallest scratches, and tightened the fastening so nothing would shift during combat. Lyra moved around him, occasionally observing closely but never interrupting. When she spoke, her voice was precise and calm. "You are very careful. Attention to detail is rare among humans." Alex smiled faintly. "I've learned that care and precision make a difference no matter who or what you are repairing." Her expression softened slightly, almost imperceptibly. For the first time, Alex felt that he was not just performing a duty. He was earning her trust, step by step. By midday, the armor was nearly complete. Alex paused to inspect the helmet, noticing that the inner padding had worn in certain areas. He replaced it carefully, ensuring comfort and protection. As he worked, he spoke quietly, explaining his process to Lyra. "This padding will give you better support during long missions," he said. "It also absorbs some impact so minor strikes won't throw off your balance." Lyra tilted her head, studying him as he spoke. "You think about these things in ways most warriors do not," she said. "You think beyond what you see on the surface," Alex nodded. "Every detail matters, Commander. That's how trust is built, through care, preparation, and understanding." A soft hum filled the room as he finished adjusting the final joint. He stepped back and allowed Lyra to try on the armor. She moved with ease, testing each joint, each movement. Alex watched carefully, noting how she shifted, how her weight distributed, and how the armor responded. After a few moments, she looked at him. "You've improved it," she said simply. "I'm glad it helps," Alex replied. She studied him silently. Then unexpectedly she asked, "Why do you care so much?" Alex paused. He had been asked similar questions about his work before, but never in this way. "Because I see more than the armor," he said. "I see the person inside it. I see the choices you make, the risks you take, and the life you carry. That's worth seeing carefully." Lyra considered his words. Then she nodded slowly, almost imperceptibly acknowledging the depth of his observation. It was a small gesture, but to Alex it meant a great deal. As the day progressed, Alex continued working, not just repairing the armor, but observing, learning, and understanding. He asked questions about her preferences in armor fit, her experiences during training, and even her past missions. Lyra answered sparingly, but each answer revealed small hints of her personality, her values, and the weight of leadership she carried. "You trust me with your armor," Alex said quietly. "That means you trust me more than you trust most humans." Lyra's eyes met his. There was a moment of silence, heavy with unspoken words. Finally, she said, "Trust is earned, not given, and you've earned it, Alex." Alex felt a rush of relief and gratitude. He had spent years working in maintenance, often overlooked and underestimated. But here, in this small armory, he had earned the respect of one of the most formidable warriors he had ever met. By evening, the armor was fully prepared. Alex stepped back to admire his work, ensuring every joint, plate, and fastener was perfect. Lyra donned the full suit, moving fluidly and testing her weapons. Everything responded as it should, every movement precise and balanced. "You've done well," she said finally, her voice carrying a note of approval that was rare and precious. "Most would not have noticed the subtle flaws you corrected." "It's my job," Alex replied simply, though inside he felt proud. Lyra studied him for a long moment. Then she stepped closer, lowering her voice almost to a whisper. "You don't see me like the others do," she said again. Alex met her gaze. "I see you," he said softly. "All of you." For a moment, the room was silent except for the hum of the station. Alex could feel the unspoken understanding between them, a bridge forming between two very different beings. It was more than duty, more than work. It was respect, trust, and perhaps the beginnings of friendship. As Alex packed up his tools for the day, Lyra watched him. She did not speak, but her eyes followed him with a quiet intensity. He realized that their connection was subtle but strong, built on observation, care, and understanding. When he left the armory, Alex felt a sense of purpose he had never felt before. This assignment was no longer just a job. It was a chance to build trust, to learn from a world very different from his own, and to prove that humans could offer value in ways that went beyond strength or numbers. He walked through the corridors of the station, the lights reflecting off the polished floors. Other humans moved about, focused on their routines, unaware of the small but significant bond forming in the armory. Alien warriors passed by, their armor gleaming, their expressions unreadable. But Alex felt a quiet satisfaction knowing that here he had made a difference, not just in repairing armor but in seeing the person inside it. As he exited to the docking bay, he glanced back once more. Lyra remained in the armory, adjusting her armor and preparing for tomorrow's missions. For the first time, Alex felt that he was more than a human engineer in a distant alien station. He was someone who had earned trust, someone who could connect across worlds, and someone who had begun to understand the true weight of responsibility and courage. Tomorrow, he thought, would bring more challenges, more adjustments, more work, and perhaps more understanding. But for now, he carried with him the quiet acknowledgement of an alien warrior, that he had been seen, truly seen for who he was and what he could offer, and that, Alex realized, was worth every moment of effort. The day started like any other, with Alex arriving at the station before dawn. The corridors were quiet, bathed in the soft hum of the lights and machinery. Yet today felt different. There was an undercurrent of tension in the air, subtle, almost imperceptible, but noticeable to someone who paid attention. Alex could feel it as he walked toward the armory, his mind alert. He entered the room to find Lyra already there, her armor partially assembled on the pedestal. She moved with a quiet precision, adjusting straps and checking joint alignments. Her eyes flicked up as he approached. "Alex," she said, her voice calm but with an edge of concern. "We've received reports of unusual activity near the outer rim. It may be nothing, but we cannot take chances." Alex nodded. "I'll make sure your armor is fully prepared. Every detail will be checked." She gave a small nod, her usual stoic expression in place. Alex immediately went to work, inspecting each plate, tightening fastenings, and polishing the metal surfaces. He noticed small marks he hadn't seen before, scuffs from previous missions and minor scratches that could have gone unnoticed. He repaired them carefully, ensuring nothing would interfere with her movement during the day's tasks. As he worked, Lyra observed him. "You notice everything," she said quietly. "Most engineers would overlook these small flaws." "It's important," Alex replied. "Small details can become big problems if ignored. And your armor isn't just metal. It's part of who you are." Lyra's gaze softened for a brief moment. It was rare for her to show such acknowledgement, and Alex felt a quiet pride. He continued adjusting the joints, ensuring they moved smoothly, and would not restrict her in any situation. By mid-morning, the armor was nearly complete. Alex was checking the final pieces when alarms suddenly blared across the station. Red lights flashed along the corridors. The intercom crackled to life. "Alert! Unauthorized vessels detected approaching the outer rim. Prepare for possible engagement." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "It's a patrol fleet," she said. "They may be scouting for weaknesses." Alex's hands tightened around his tools. "Do you need me to make last-minute adjustments before you go?" "Do it quickly," Lyra replied. "Every second counts." Alex moved with focused precision. He reinforced the armor's joint plates, ensuring mobility was optimal. He checked the helmet for clear visibility and secure communication channels. He adjusted the energy shielding along the arms and shoulders, balancing protection with flexibility. Lyra's armor had always been advanced, but in moments like this, even small improvements could make a difference. Once he finished, Lyra stepped into her suit fully. She tested each movement carefully, bending, twisting, and shifting as if preparing for battle. Alex watched closely, ensuring the armor responded perfectly. "You've improved it," she said finally, a rare note of approval in her voice. "I'm glad," Alex replied quietly. "It's built to move with you, not just protect you." Lyra's eyes met his. "You understand that." "Most do not," she said. Her words held an unspoken respect. a recognition of the effort and thought he had put into her armor. Suddenly, the station shook with the impact of energy blasts hitting the outer defenses. Alarms rang louder and the lights flickered. Alex felt the vibrations through the floor as he clutched his tools, his heart racing. "They're attacking," Lyra said, her voice calm but firm. "We need to hold them off until reinforcements arrive." Alex followed her to the command area, watching as she coordinated the station's defense systems. Her movements were precise, calculated, and fearless. Yet Alex noticed something others might not. Small adjustments in her stance, careful shifts of weight, and moments of hesitation that hinted at the risks she carried. "Your armor will hold," he said quietly, though he was not entirely sure. He had prepared it as best he could, but this was a real attack, not a simulation. Lyra glanced at him briefly. "I know it will," she replied. Her trust in his work was clear, and Alex felt a surge of responsibility. The attack intensified. Enemy vessels launched energy strikes toward the station, and Lyra moved into position to lead the defense. She wielded her personal weapons with skill, the armor responding flawlessly to her movements. Alex watched as she dodged, struck, and countered with remarkable precision. Every joint he had adjusted, every piece he had polished, worked exactly as he intended. At one point, an energy blast grazed her shoulder. The armor absorbed most of the impact, but Alex saw a small dent form along the outer plating. Without hesitation, Lyra adjusted her movements, using the armor's flexibility to maintain balance and continue fighting. "You made the right adjustments," she said under her breath, almost to herself. "They're saving me now." Alex felt a mix of pride and relief. His work was not just theoretical, it was actively helping her survive this battle. The enemy vessels tried to flank the station, but Lyra anticipated their moves. She directed defensive drones and coordinated with other alien warriors, her voice calm yet commanding over the communication channels. Alex noticed how she relied on her armor, how every small detail he had perfected was making a difference in her movements. After several tense minutes, reinforcements arrived. Alien ships from the station's fleet joined the defense, pushing the attackers back. The alarms finally ceased and the station's systems returned to normal. Lyra stood in the command area, her armor battered but intact, her expression steady. Alex approached cautiously. "Are you okay?" he asked. Lyra studied him for a moment. Then she nodded. "Thanks to your work, I am. The armor performed better than I expected." Alex felt a surge of satisfaction. He had prepared the armor with care, but seeing it withstand real combat, protecting the commander he had come to respect, filled him with pride. "You don't see me like the others do," Lyra said quietly again. Echoing her words from before, Alex met her gaze. "I see you," he said simply. "All of you. Your skill, your courage, and the weight you carry." She studied him silently, her usual stern expression softened by the acknowledgement. For a moment, the chaos of the battle faded, leaving only understanding between them. As the day ended, Lyra returned to the armory to inspect her armor. Alex assisted her in making minor repairs from the scratches and dents of the battle. They worked together in silence, comfortable in each other's presence. "You have a careful hand," Lyra said at one point. "It matters more than you know." Alex looked up. "I believe that every detail counts. Not just in armor, but in life. Every choice, every action. It shapes who we are." Lyra nodded thoughtfully. "You understand more than most. Perhaps more than anyone I've met here." They continued working until the sun on the distant planet below began to set, casting warm colors across the station's metal floors. The room was quiet except for the hum of machinery and the occasional clink of tools. When Alex finally packed his tools, Lyra remained standing, her armor polished and repaired. She regarded him with a rare expression of acknowledgement and trust. "Tomorrow we will continue preparations. There is more to learn, more to improve, and I will rely on your insight again." Alex smiled faintly. "I'll be here, Commander. As always." As he left the armory, the corridor lights reflected off the polished surfaces, and he felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. He had survived his first real test under fire, and more importantly, he had proven that careful attention, understanding, and respect could make a difference, not just in machines, but in people. He glanced back once, seeing Lyra adjusting her armor and preparing for her duties. For the first time, Alex felt a true connection with someone from a world very different from his own. It was subtle, quiet, and built on trust, observation, and shared purpose. But it was there, and it was real. As Alex returned to his quarters, he reflected on the day. He had seen her courage firsthand, and he had contributed to it not with strength or weapons, but with care, understanding, and precision. It was a reminder that humans could make a difference in ways others might never imagine. Tomorrow, he knew, would bring new challenges, new missions, more adjustments, and perhaps deeper understanding. But for now, he carried with him the quiet satisfaction of having earned the trust of a remarkable alien warrior, and that, he realized, was worth every moment of effort. The morning light filtered through the wide windows of the space station, casting a soft glow across the polished floors. Alex moved carefully along the corridors carrying his toolkit. The events of the previous day had left a lasting impression on him. He had seen Commander Lyra in action, observed her skill, and understood more than ever the trust she had placed in him. When he reached the armory, Lyra was already there. She stood beside her armor, her posture calm yet commanding, as though she had been waiting for him. "Alex," she said, her voice steady, "there is more to prepare today. We cannot leave any weakness unaddressed." "Yes, Commander," Alex replied, setting down his tools. He examined the armor closely, noting the small dents and scratches from yesterday's engagement. He began repairs immediately, adjusting the joints and reinforcing areas that had sustained minor damage. Each adjustment was precise, as if he were not just fixing the armor, but strengthening a part of Lyra herself. Lyra observed him quietly. "You are meticulous," she said. "It is rare to see someone take such care. Most humans treat the armor as a tool or object. She paused briefly, her gaze steady. "You understand it?" Alex nodded. "It matters to me. Every detail has a purpose. Every mark, every scratch. It tells a story." Lyra studied him for a moment. Then, without a word, she moved to check the control panels on the wall. Alex continued his work, silently noting how she handled her equipment with the same precision and care she expected from him. As the morning passed, Alex made small improvements to the armor, adjustments to improve mobility, strengthening minor weak points, and polishing the surface to ensure nothing would hinder her in battle. He also noticed subtle patterns in the design, symbols that seemed ceremonial rather than purely functional. Carefully, he cleaned around them, respecting their importance. "You pay attention to more than just the functionality," Lyra said quietly, watching him. "You notice the meaning behind the details." Alex glanced up. "It matters. Understanding what something represents, or who someone is, makes a difference. Not just in armor, but in trust." Lyra's expression softened for a brief moment. She had rarely spoken about trust in such a personal way, and Alex felt honored to hear it. Midday arrived, and the station's routine continued. Other engineers moved about, busy with their tasks. Alien warriors walked past, clad in their polished armor, their expressions unreadable. Alex, however, remained focused on his task, aware that the bond he was forming with Lyra was something unique. "You understand more than most," Lyra said after a moment of silence. "It is not your strength or speed that matters, it is your care, your attention, and your understanding." Alex smiled faintly. Sometimes those qualities make the greatest difference. Lyra regarded him silently. There was an unspoken acknowledgement between them, a recognition that their connection went beyond orders, duty, or protocol. It was built on trust and respect, and it had grown stronger through careful observation and shared purpose. In the afternoon, Alex assisted Lyra with more detailed adjustments. He modified the armor's joints for greater flexibility, tested the weight distribution, and ensured that her weapons could be accessed quickly without compromising defense. Each step was deliberate, precise, and performed with the same care he had applied since the beginning. Lyra observed his work, occasionally offering guidance or confirming his adjustments. "You have learned quickly," she noted. "It is rare to find someone who adapts so well." Alex nodded. "I listen and watch. That is how I learn, and you teach without words, just by showing how you move and how you think." Lyra's gaze met his. There was a hint of appreciation in her eyes, subtle but unmistakable. "Perhaps you see me as I am," she said softly. Alex felt a quiet satisfaction. It was not simply praise for his work. It was acknowledgement of his effort to understand her, to see beyond the armor and the reputation, and to recognize the person behind it. As the afternoon continued, Lyra asked him to assist with a simulation. The station's training area was equipped with holographic targets, defensive obstacles, and automated drones. The goal was to test the effectiveness of her armor under various conditions. Alex followed her instructions, observing closely as she moved through the simulation. He noted how the armor responded, how her movements flowed naturally, and how she relied on both skill and equipment to navigate the challenges. "Adjust this joint slightly," he suggested, pointing to a section near her shoulder. "It will allow a faster response to lateral movements." Lyra nodded and tested it immediately. The adjustment worked perfectly, enhancing her mobility without compromising protection. "Well done," she said, her voice quiet but approving. Alex continued to monitor and suggest minor improvements throughout the simulation. Each adjustment was subtle, but collectively they enhanced her performance. Lyra moved with increased confidence, the armor responding flawlessly to every action. When the simulation ended, Lyra removed her helmet and exhaled deeply. "Your work. It has improved my performance," she said. "I am grateful for your care and attention." Alex felt a warm satisfaction. "It is my responsibility to support you." "I am glad it helps." They spent the remainder of the afternoon making final adjustments. Alex carefully cleaned each section of the armor, tested the joints, and ensured that every fastener was secure. Lyra observed quietly, occasionally asking questions or confirming his choices. By evening, the armor was fully prepared. Lyra donned the complete suit and tested her movements one last time. She moved with ease and confidence, the armor responding perfectly. "You have done well," she said finally. Not many humans would take the time to understand the details or the meaning behind them. Alex smiled. "I see more than just the surface. I see what matters." Lyra regarded him for a long moment. Then she stepped closer, her expression softening. "You don't see me like the others do," she whispered, repeating the words that had become familiar to him. Alex met her gaze. "I see you," he replied quietly. "All of you. Your skill, your courage, and the weight you carry." For a moment, the room was quiet except for the hum of the station. There was no need for more words. They had reached an understanding, a connection that transcended species and culture. It was subtle, built on observation, care, and trust, but it was strong. As Alex packed his tools to leave, Lyra remained in her armor, adjusting straps and testing mobility. She glanced at him once, her eyes reflecting a rare acknowledgement. "Tomorrow we will continue. There is still much to prepare, and I will rely on your insight again," she said. "I will be here, Commander," Alex replied. He walked through the corridors, reflecting on the day. Each moment had strengthened their bond and reinforced the importance of attention, care, and understanding. For Alex, it was more than just maintaining armor. It was about connecting with someone whose world was very different from his own, learning from her and earning her trust. It was a reminder that humans could contribute in meaningful ways, not just with strength or skill, but with thoughtfulness, observation, and respect. As he returned to his quarters, Alex thought about the journey ahead. He knew there would be challenges, missions, and perhaps dangers, but he also knew that his connection with Lyra would guide him. Their bond was built on trust and understanding, and it had become a source of strength for both of them. He paused by the window, looking out at the distant planet below. Its jagged mountains and glowing rivers of energy reminded him of the risks they faced, the battles ahead, and the importance of preparation. Yet in that moment he felt calm. He had earned the trust of a remarkable warrior, and he had learned that careful attention, respect, and understanding could bridge worlds, and for the first time, he realized that his work, his care and thoughtfulness was not just valuable. It was essential. It was the foundation of trust, courage, and partnership. Alex took a deep breath, feeling the quiet satisfaction of a day well spent. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, more adjustments, and perhaps deeper understanding. But for now, he carried with him the knowledge that trust could be earned, bonds could be built across worlds, and even the smallest details could make the greatest difference. The next day, Alex arrived at the station with a sense of anticipation. This would be the day for final testing and preparation of Commander Lyra's armor, before a critical mission to the Outer Rim. He carried his tools carefully, his mind focused. Over the past days, he had learned not only about the armor, but also about the person behind it, the warrior who bore responsibility and courage in every movement. Lyra was already at the armory, standing beside her suit. Her posture was calm and precise, her eyes scanning the room. She turned toward Alex as he entered. "Alex," she said, her tone carrying both command and acknowledgement. "We have little time. The mission begins soon and your work will be put to the test. Yes." "Commander," Alex replied, setting down his toolkit and moving toward the armor. He began inspecting each section carefully, noting wear and minor misalignments from previous adjustments. He polished the plates, ensured the joints moved smoothly, and checked that every fastener was secure. Today the stakes were higher than ever. One small flaw could have serious consequences in the field. Lyra observed him quietly, occasionally adjusting a strap or checking her weapons. Her gaze was sharp, but there was a subtle calm about her, a quiet confidence that Alex had come to respect. He worked with the same care and attention as always, aware that she trusted him not just with her armor, but in a sense, with her safety. "You've improved it again," she said after a moment, her voice softer than usual. "Most would not notice the small details that matter." "I see more than just the armor," Alex replied. "I see what it represents, the decisions behind it and the person inside it." Lyra studied him silently. Then she spoke again, her words quieter, almost personal. "You don't see me like the others do." Alex met her gaze. "I see you," he said softly. "All of you." The silence in the armory was filled only by the hum of the station's machinery. There was no need for more words. They had reached an understanding, a bond built on trust, observation, and respect. Suddenly, the station's alarm blared. Red lights flashed, signaling the imminent arrival of enemy vessels near the outer rim. Alex's chest tightened. He had seen Lyra in combat before, but today, he would witness her in a real mission, one where her survival depended on both her skill and the armor he had prepared. "Alex," Lyra said, her voice steady, "we move to the shuttle bay. You will accompany me for final support and monitoring." "Yes, Commander," Alex replied, following her through the corridors. When they reached the shuttle bay, Lyra stepped into the armored shuttle. Alex assisted her in securing the armor and checked the internal systems. Every adjustment he had made in the past days was now crucial. The shuttle launched into space, leaving the station behind. The vast darkness stretched before them, dotted with distant stars and the glow of nearby planets. Alex could feel the tension in the cabin, but Lyra's calm presence steadied him. "They are approaching quickly," she said, checking the holographic display. "We must be ready for evasive maneuvers and defensive engagement." Alex monitored the armor's systems, ensuring every joint, every energy shield, and every connection was functioning perfectly. His hands moved over the controls with practiced care, supporting Lyra without interfering. As the enemy vessels came into view, energy blasts streaked across space. Lyra's movements were precise, each action calculated. She dodged, countered, and directed defensive measures with flawless timing. The armor responded perfectly, every adjustment Alex had made contributing to her agility and protection. At one point, a vessel launched a concentrated attack toward the shuttle. Lyra twisted, using the armor's flexibility to absorb and deflect the impact. Alex held his breath as sparks flew from the exterior plating, but the armor held. "You've done well," Lyra said quietly under her breath. "These adjustments are saving me now." Alex felt a quiet satisfaction. His work was not theoretical. It was actively protecting her life. The bond they had built over the past days through careful work and shared understanding had become essential. The battle continued, tense and fast-paced. Lyra maneuvered through the enemy formation, using both her skill and the armor's capabilities. Alex monitored the systems, making minor adjustments in real time, ensuring that nothing failed during critical moments. Finally, the reinforcements arrived, alien fleet ships joining the fight and driving back the attackers. The enemy vessels retreated, leaving the shuttle and the mission area secure. Lyra exhaled, her armor intact, her expression calm but alert. "You've done more than I expected," she said, turning to Alex. "Your care and attention have made a difference today." Alex felt a swell of pride. "I only did what I could, Commander. The armor and you did the rest." Lyra regarded him for a long moment. Then in a quieter tone, she repeated the words he had grown accustomed to hearing. "You don't see me like the others do." Alex smiled faintly. "I see you, all of you," he said again, and this time he felt the weight of truth in it. It was not just admiration. It was recognition, understanding, and respect. The shuttle returned to the station, and Lyra's armor was carefully removed and placed back on the pedestal. Alex made final inspections, repairing minor scratches and ensuring everything was ready for future missions. "You have proven yourself," Lyra said. "Not just in skill, but in understanding, care, and trust. Few humans could have done what you did." Alex shook his head slightly. "I only followed what I knew was right. I tried to understand, to respect what mattered." Lyra nodded. There was a quiet approval in her gaze, a recognition that went beyond words. "You have earned something rare," she said. "A warrior's trust." Alex felt a warmth in his chest. Over the past days, he had come to respect her courage, her skill, and her quiet strength. And now he realized that she had come to respect him in return, not for power or skill in battle, but for care, observation, and understanding. The day ended with the station quieting down. Other engineers left for rest, and the alien warriors returned to their routines. Alex and Lyra remained in the armory, the silence between them comfortable. "You will continue to assist me," Lyra said finally. "There is more to learn, more to prepare, and more challenges ahead." "I will be here," Alex replied. "Always." She studied him silently, and for the first time, Alex saw a hint of something more in her expression, a subtle acknowledgement that their connection had grown into something beyond duty. As he packed his tools and prepared to leave, Alex glanced at Lyra, standing tall and resolute in her armor. She had faced countless battles, survived situations no human could imagine, and yet here she was, trusting him with her safety. The corridors of the station stretched before him, lights reflecting off the polished floors. Alex walked through them with a sense of purpose. He knew that the bond he had formed with Lyra was rare and meaningful, built on trust, care, and mutual understanding. Looking out at the distant stars, Alex realized that humanity had a place in the galaxy, not just through strength, numbers, or technology, but through observation, understanding, and respect. Small acts of care, attention to detail, and willingness to understand others could change outcomes, build trust, and forge bonds across worlds. He paused, taking a deep breath. The journey ahead would be filled with challenges, missions, and unknown dangers, but he also knew that he had earned the trust of a remarkable warrior. That trust, combined with skill and courage, would make a difference in the battles yet to come. And in that quiet moment, Alex felt a sense of fulfillment. He had proven that humans could offer something unique in a galaxy filled with power and technology. They could offer insight, care, and understanding, qualities that could save lives, forge trust, and build connections that no weapon or armor alone could achieve. He looked back one last time at the armory, at Lyra's polished armor gleaming under the lights. She had fought, survived, and led, yet she had also allowed him to see her as she truly was, and he in turn had seen her, not as a figure of fear or legend, but as a warrior, a leader, and someone who could be trusted. As Alex left for the evening, he felt certain of one thing: the bond they had formed was lasting. It was built not on words alone, but on understanding, respect, and shared purpose. It was rare, valuable, and powerful, and it had only just begun.